Hey, it's Phil. Welcome back to the channel. If you are here for the first time, this is the last installment of our tips for RAGBRAI virgins. And those are basically tips for first-timers that haven't done RAGBRAI before, and kind of walk through 5 at a time. Today we're going through tips 16 through 20. And 16 through 20 are going to be more of a show and tell. I'm going to cover a few things that I think really help out that first timer in the RAGBRAI world. So, if you just landed on the channel and this is your first video, welcome. Please take a look around. Like I said, we've got those other 3 in the series. They're on a playlist. Also, the stuff that we've done for tips for last year. And, you know, take a look at that. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out the algorithm, whatever that is. And yeah, we get some more subscribers. So I think we've gained about 50 or so subscribers this past series, which has been awesome. And then of course we do some travel, bike restoration and that sort of thing. And channel's all about biking and trying to keep going in a positive direction. So also, besides subscribing and liking the videos, you know, if you've got any of your tips, please put them in the comments so others can read those as well. And had some really good comments in the last 3 of these different videos, and one of those I'm going to share today. Also, if you want to help out the channel monetarily, because we're a small channel that's not monetized yet, so if you're able to, go to the link below, which will be probably in here somewhere. And it's the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's just a one-time donation, nothing reoccurring. Pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I'd really appreciate that, but more importantly, love if you would go and subscribe, like, and comment, share all the YouTube things, and that'll help us to move on to some of my goals. All right, and here we go. This is back to 16 in the 16 to 20 tips for virgins. Don't worry about getting lost. Look, there's only a few thousand people in front of you and a few thousand people behind you. Just if you get lost, stop. Somebody will ride up and go, hey, are you lost? No, they won't. Actually, you get a map every day, or a map for every day. You don't actually receive a map every day, but in your packet of stuff that RAGBRAI sends to you, you will get a packet of fold-out maps that you can mount on your bike, keep in your jersey pocket, whatever, and it will tell you exactly what the route is. Now, if you're more of a GPS type person, after they pre-ride the route in, I think it's June sometime, they will put together GPS files which you can download to your device, and you'll have everything right there. So whether you're a paper map person or more of a GPS person, you'll have options, you know, at your disposal. After that, yeah, you know, there's always signs in towns. You've actually got probably more of a possibility of getting actually lost in the town between your tent and the showers or the downtown area where the bands are. That I've always found is tougher to navigate than the actual route. The route's really pretty straightforward. And if you're concerned about getting to your tents, wherever you're tenting at, if you're with Bike World, they'll have a big sign that says Bike World with an arrow. Same thing with Pork Bellies, and of course the main campground. They all have signs that go to those spots, so you don't have to worry about being lost in town. And of course they have these great little info booths at the big higher traffic corners, and there's always RAGBRAI volunteers or staff there that will help you get on your way. So don't worry about getting lost, and it's not that big a thing. So whether you are GPS, old school map, or you just like to follow the crowd, RAGBRAI's got you covered. Oh, and those hundreds of riders that are in front of you, hopefully they're going the same place. I'm pretty sure they are. Number 17, maintenance. Things to have on your bike the day of the ride. So, chances are you might have a couple screws loose, and they're not ones that are right behind the handlebars. You're going to have, you know, seat rattles loose or something like that. make sure you have some sort of a multi-tool. And you know, the multi-tool is pretty easy. Screwdrivers, hex heads, you can get them at any bike shop. If you don't know really what you're looking for, I mean, you can spend a lot or a little on these. And your friends at the local bike shop will be able to steer you in the right direction. Park Tools makes a great one of these. It's a lot smaller than this, has a few less tools. This is a Crank Brothers one, and I've had this for several years, and man, it's really come in handy, even when it's out of focus. So there you go. As well as having that, you should have something to repair a flat. So these super patches, they're really great. They are available at local bike store. You'll need some tire levers. Tire levers, easy for me to say, will be what you're going to use to get that tire away from the rim and install it back on. Get a little CO2 air or a hand pump. Quite frankly, I like the CO2. A lot of people swear that they should have a hand pump because hand pump always works as long as you're still working, and of course a tube that fits your bike's tire size. So now here's something that was pointed out to me in the comments. Okay, so even if you don't know how to use those tools, somebody will. And keeping in the philosophy of the Army is you don't use your first aid kit when you come up on somebody that needs first aid. You use their stuff. That way when you need your stuff, you still have it. So keep that in mind. Have your tools on your bike. So if you got that tube, the tire levers, the CO2, or a hand pump or something like that, and you do not know how to change your own tire, somebody that happens along will. And they might have their own stuff, but then if they have a problem down the road and they've given you their tube, well, now they're minus a tube. So if you can at least have a tube on your bike, in your bag, jersey pocket, whatever that is, if it does come to that, they can at least use your tube or those little patches if you want to sit there and hunt around the actual tube for the puncture. You can put one of those little stick-on patches from Park Tools, and yeah, you can get one of those and your tube will be good to go until the next flat. So, I'm not saying people get a lot of flats, but it seems like the skinnier your tires are, the more likely you are to have a flat. And that's just the way it goes. So, make sure you have tools on your bike, even if you don't know how to use them. So, if you don't know what to put those items in, all your tools and that sort of thing, stop by your local bike shop. There's these canisters. They basically look like a water bottle with the top cut off. And I think these are made by Specialized. I got this one at REI. My last one was from Angry Catfish. So basically, you can put everything in this little tube and then put it in one of your water bottle holders or in a bag, and everything's there. I would also, think about getting a pair of rubber gloves. I mean, everybody's got those left over from the pandemic, right? They're under the sink, they're in the garage somewhere. Put a few of those bad boys inside of this, and that'll keep your hands clean if you have to put your own chain on or something like that. So just the more prepared you are, the better your ride's going to be. All right, number 18 in the tips list here. And again, these are in no particular order. If you haven't seen the other videos, go back to those. There's a playlist. I will have that in the card at the end of the video, and you guys can look up the other tips from this series for RAGBRAI Virgins. Okay, number 18, know the day's schedule and the weather. This is more important than you might think. Knowing the day's schedule, we go back to the map. Make sure you know where you're going. Make sure you know where those meeting points are, and that you maybe looked up, earlier, looked up where the route maybe takes a big turn or something like that so you don't miss it. Again, there's thousands of people out on the route. Chances of you missing a turn, pretty slim, but I'm sure some of you will be able to do it. Hey, we're going to meet up at the meetup town. You don't need to know what the layout of the town is. If you really want to know, you can, and you've got some service, you can go to Google Maps and just fly right into it, and then you can see, oh, there's a church on the right, there's a Casey's on the left, and so forth. But usually, yeah, just meeting at the first place on Main Street on the left. Meet at the first, whether it's a pie stand, a bar, or whatever. Just keep that up. Chances of you having actual cell signal throughout the route, pretty slim. And you want to make sure that you've got that way to connect with your fellow riders, especially if they're wondering, wow, I didn't see them after that last hill. And then all of a sudden they're worried, and don't make somebody be a salmon and go back up the other way looking for you. So just, make that plan ahead of time. If you're riding solo, you got it all covered. Plan accordingly for the weather. So usually in the overnight towns, there's much more signal that you can pick up with, especially later at night, with your cell phone. Yeah, check the forecast for the next day. Make sure you know what they're doing. Is it going to rain? Is it going to be 45-mile-an-hour winds? Are there, is there any sun in the forecast? All those sort of things, and plan accordingly. So make sure that you have your sunscreen, bug spray, whatever you use, and yeah, you'll be good to go. Last but not least on the tip thing on number 18 is know the SAG schedule. So again, when I talked about those maps that you have at your disposal, you take them with you. You will have the SAG service cutoff for each town. So you have to be, past this town by this time for the SAG to pick you up. And that's only good route planning, good trip planning, whatever. If you would have a problem, then you wouldn't have to deal with anything about like, gee, how do I get a hold of the SAG? There's going to be a spot and in town, if you make it that far, but there will be a spot in town where you can meet up to be picked up by the SAG. Otherwise, follow the procedures of being on the left side of the road with your bike turned upside down and hanging out by your bike until the truck comes along and they'll get you taken care of. Number 19, communication is key. And yeah, everybody thinks I'll just give them a call or a text on the cell phone, but what you realize in some of those route spots, you're not going to have any cell signal. And then all of a sudden when you do have cell signal, you might get bumped with messages from 2 hours ago. So have some sort of a communication plan. And that could be as simple as where you're going to meet in a meetup town, or a number to call, or maybe it's a group text that you can report in on and say, hey, I am on the SAG, or I have a flat, I'm fixing it. Go ahead without me, I'll catch up tonight. Those types of things are great instead of trying to get a hold of somebody, that might not have a signal. I know that seems counterintuitive, but if you don't have a signal now, those messages will pop in as your signal becomes available. And some carriers, of course, have better options in certain parts of the country than others do. So it's kind of nice if your whole group's not on the same plan, but on the other hand, yeah, you've got to have something in place, or you're going to have people unnecessarily waiting for you, looking for you, and then you've gone on down the road. So keep that in mind. It's always better to have your cell phone on an airplane mode, and then when you stop for whatever alongside the road or in town, turn it on, and you're going to keep your battery up more that way. Yeah, you're not going to have that instant communication with a friend that needs their flat fixed or needs something else. You're not going to have that, but you'll at least be able to, when you're stopped, see if you've got a signal, and those messages will trickle in. Otherwise, your phone's going to be searching all day for a signal that just doesn't exist, and that takes off battery. So at some point in time, maybe when you really need it, you're going to need to use your phone, and guess what? Mr. Battery's left town on vacation. So definitely keep yourself going with a brick of some sort. This is one of those Anchors, got it off of Amazon, and yeah, those things are, great. Stick it in your jersey pocket, in a bike bag, whatever, and you're gonna always have some juice. That's actually one of the other things that I always, kind of advise against is using like a ride with GPS that's going to take up all your phone battery. And then when you really need to use it for an actual emergency, then your phone doesn't work. So that's kind of a no-brainer to take one of these with you. But you'd be surprised how many people are standing around with a dead phone because, yeah, it works all day at home wherever you live because you've got signal. And it's just pinging the tower for a signal as opposed to searching for hours on end, which takes up the most battery. So yeah, definitely do that. Now here is something that I'm sure you think is tips from an old guy, but write the important numbers down on a piece of paper and don't lose the piece of paper. Here's the deal. We've done it before. Everybody's done this. Call Mom, call Jeff, call Dean, whoever, and your phone does it. But if you really had to remember Dean's phone number, or you really had to remember someone else's in your group that you might have only met a couple days ago, phone number, yeah, your phone's dead. You might be able to beg, borrow, or steal a phone to use, or even use a landline somewhere and see if you can get a hold of your people. But if your phone doesn't boot up, man, have that piece of paper ready. I know it sounds like archaic advice, but yeah, take a little recipe card, write those numbers down that you're going to need, and keep it in your jersey pocket or on your bike at all times. That way, when things go south, you can still get a hold of the people you need to. All right, and finally, tip number 20: have a bailout plan. Yeah, let's just end this on a sad note, but nobody signs up for this thinking that they're not going to make it through the whole day or the whole week or the time that they've thought they would. Maybe they're going to do a 3-day stint or whatever the case is. But have a bailout plan. So who's that person that you can call that can come pick you up when things go south or get you back to your car? How are you going to do that? And we follow quite a few YouTubers that do, the whole route, and some of those guys have to bail. One of them last year actually wound up renting a U-Haul one way so they could get themselves and their bikes to their car at the end of the ride, and then they just returned the van then. So have some sort of a bailout plan, have a person that you can call, know where the options are for vehicle rentals, whether it be a Enterprise or Hertz or Avis or a U-Haul. And quite frankly, in small towns in Iowa, it's more likely that you're going to find a U-Haul rental more than it would be a Hertz or something like that you're probably more familiar with renting. Like I said, nobody wants to go home early, but keep that in the back of your mind that, you could have a mechanical, you could have a medical problem, whatever happens. Your dinosaur has ran out of the backyard and you have to go look for him, so you have to go home. Whatever it is, just have that backup plan, and that'll bring you some peace of mind too. All right, so there you have it. The last in the series, tips 16 through 20. And hopefully you picked up something from this. If you like to have more of this content, please like and subscribe. If you want to go to that link, buy me a coffee, one-time donation, small channel, not monetized yet. So yeah, that really helps out buying new stuff. And in fact, this video was filmed with a new lens for the camera that we currently use. So kind of interested to see if the video quality is any better or if somehow it's just the same. But anyway, looking forward to that. So thanks again for your support, for watching the channel. We will see you on the next one. Until then, get out there and take care of your dash. Thanks for watching. Oh, almost forgot. If you're keeping track, that's another classic Schwinn back there. I think it is a 68 Typhoon, Chicago made. It's one of the ones that I've gone through completely, actually re-spoked the wheels on that. Never want to do that again. If you're going to hire somebody to do something for your, yeah, go hire somebody. I mean, people do it and do it well, but I'm not that guy. Yeah, 68 Schwinn Typhoon, 1 speed, all original. Well, except for the Brooks saddle and maybe a couple other comfort items. And you know, by the end of this, you will have lost your virginity. I'm just going to leave it there. And you do with it as you want. I'm just going to leave that there, and you can do with it as you please. The comment, not your virginity. But this is going south really fast.